G.
Good morning, my brother Roland. Good morning to my senior, citizens here. The unique thing is that myself and
Mr. Philip
London and Mutala used to do Alaji and Alaji on Radio Gold on Saturdays. And we'll fight and leave the studio. I mean, it's been a while since we met. So today seeing him, I'm so happy seeing him. He looks so strong. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And, you know, my very good friend and brother yesterday celebrated his 40th birthday because he raised his issues. Francis Neboy, who was with Bost, I want to use their platform to wish him a happiest 40th. When you get to 40, they will start telling you what you should eat, what you should not eat, and all of them.
That's
and,
true.
The deputy CEO of Tema Shipyard, Peter Mensah, he usually does for our party communicators who should go where and others. Today is also his birthday, so happy birthday to him.
Okay, happy birthday to you.
It's unfortunate that the times of their birthdays have coincided with quite challenging moments for all of us.
And Philip London is here, and with the Movement for Change, was a very strong member of the MPP as well. But for many of you Gen Zs who don't know, I kept teasing him that the Gen Zs don't know. The individuals who consolidated our democracy, public opinion, and make sure we have this culture that we have. Good morning to you, Mr. London.
Good morning, Roland.
Great. And then also Richard Amoyate. Good morning to you.
Good morning,
a deputy director or a director of Inspectorate, the National Disaster Management Organization. Good to have you in the studio. And properly, we'll be having some key individuals who will be joining us as and when, and so we will. But well, just in case you want to also talk about the key related issues, please. This is what Elvis Efriye-Ankra said. Let's get that insert, and then we'll commence our discussion so far.
We have a great deal of respect for religious leaders, and as the statement said, they've been partners in nation building. However, we've gotten to a point where things seem to be getting out of hand. Every single day, we are seeing messages, TikTok messages from different kinds of people prophesying very serious things concerning the nation and its leadership. And I dare say that it's causing a lot of fear and panic. My inbox is inundated with various prophecies. Have you seen this? Have you heard this? What are you doing about it? And you people, you know, so and more often than not, when you probe further, the challenge they say is that they don't have access to government officials. They are not able to reach us. People don't pick their calls. People don't respond to them, etc. So we have created a channel, a WhatsApp number, and an email address that if you have any prophecy concerning the president, the vice president, senior political leaders, prophecies that border on the security of the state. For example, if you say that an aircraft is going to crash, a military aircraft, is a security matter. Those are matters that you should relate to us. We're not saying that your normal everyday prophecies in church about your church members or people, you should bring it to us. So that's not what we're saying.
All right, so that's what he said. And Eduji?
I listened and I read the release. You know, usually because of our secular nature, matters involving religiosity and their associated issues, you want to deal with it at individual level. Our democracy is growing, but our handling of the incidents of democracy can be a bit problematic. And also the situation where it appears that there are no limits, there are no restrictions. Is that exactly what democratic rule is about? Even the Constitution 1992 in talking about rights, also appears to place some limits. So that, for instance, when you go on TV, and in the name of prophetic pronouncements or proclamations, say the President of the Republic, this will happen to you. You'll notice that the prophets of the old, the prophets in the Bible, they had a unique way of approaching matters. Prophet Nathan, after everything that King David has done, if you recall, he didn't do a public proclamation to David. He approached him and in a parable said, King David, there was a rich man who had everything. Of all the things, when he had so visitor, he decided to kill the only animal owned by the poor man for his guests. Everything. When he finished, King David gave a response. Then he said, look, my king, the rich man is you. You have all the women of Israel, but Uriah's wife, A, B, C, D. King David took it and proceeded with that. So you notice that even from the Bible, the prophets have always had a way of approaching this kind of prophecies. I don't know what the scholarship on some of these matters are. And so when they come, look, my phone is inundated with some of those. But the benefit is that you are lucky, or maybe we have not gotten to the stature where the prophetic pronouncements will come through radio, television, or the church pulpit. It's my prayer that my senior brother, a very strong man of faith, that's the Honorable Elvis Afriye Ankra, would maybe have a conversation broadly with the Christian Council, the Pentecostal and Christian Council once again, whose members usually are into this. You notice that the traditional Orthodox churches, Catholics, Methodist, Presbyterian, Anglican, and the rest, they hardly make those loud pronouncements. I grew up, my dad, in the ARS church, Apostle Revelation Society, which was a church my
Apostle Wovenu.
Mafame Wovenu. You see, they will call you and tell you that this is what we are seeing, A, B, C, D. And so you notice that in the past, Mafame Wovenu used to relate with very great people. I remember those days, Azuma Nelson, when he goes for his boxing, he will say, no, he's a proud associate of the ARS church. You never hear publicly any one of them. The situation today is a bit more different. I don't think I have the competence to pronounce on the appropriateness or otherwise of how these men of God decide to relate their specific prophecies to individuals. But like the directive from my senior brother indicates, if you have a specific prophecy for Eduji, we have Eduji's number. So once you relate to us, we can reach out to Eduji and say, look, this prophecy had come to you. Take it serious. Or get back to this man of God and find a way that you can manage this prophecy with him. Because the danger with it is that if you are not careful, it will paralyze you. Where you have received a prophecy that if you travel, excuse my language, you will die. The work you do, let me say this, my big man, he's in Admo.
He has to travel.
He can't perform the role of disaster management on a desktop? Or can you do it? He can't do it via a desktop. He would have to move. So immediately you say this, depending on his level of religiosity, you say, hey, will this man of God have... In fact, there's one that I even watched where the man of God was saying that by 31st, something will happen to the president of the republic. And I'm saying that, where you make such... Is it possible you can reach out quietly, maybe to the president or something? And so this avenue, the email, the phone number, I think is just to provide a filter. I do not think that it is an attempt to, as it were, place a limit. No, not at all.
It's not to clamp down.
No. President John Dramani Mahama, he's a man of faith. He believed in the prophetic. He will do everything to advance the cause of Christianity in this country. But, I say this with all humility. What should be the nature, the mode of communicating such a thing? You understand? Look, we find ourselves in quite a difficult time. So we will plead with everybody, with all humility. Kindly understand where government of Ghana is coming from, so that we can bring a certain level of sanity into the system. That is not to say anybody is interested in gagging the prophetic movement. In fact, if you read the Bible, prophecy is also one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit. Prophecy, teaching, among others. And this government will be the last. By the mode, how did Prophet Nathan handle it? Even with the king. Why? He could have just gone and said, look at you. Look, king, this is what you have done. You've slept with somebody's wife. And you have done A, B, C, D. And shame him. No. He met him quietly. So spirituality must go together with the wisdom associated with it. I don't think it's a bad call. Thank you.
All right. So how should this be undertaken in such a way that it is not misconstrued to mean that you want to clamp down religiosity, revelations by men of God, prophecies, so to go. You know, we have a lot of prophets these days, soothsayers, or whatever you say. Even before she became a woman of God, she was called a grada, you know, so a traditional priestess, so to speak. Now, this is also not the first time we've had this directive. In fact, IGP Dampari did issue such an edict, so to speak. How should that be undertaken in such a way that it's not misconstrued?
Well, thank you very much, Roland. First of all, I appreciate the effort that has been made to address it. And that is the statement that has been issued from the Office of the President. It just tells you that this matter, which is of concern to a lot of Ghanaians, Christian and non-Christians alike, the way all manner of persons describing themselves as prophets or men of God in quotes make these type of prophecies. It's not just last week or in the recent days that this thing has happened. It's been happening over time, but it looks like it's getting worse. And what is even worse is that some of these people who are supposed to be men of God seem to take delight in prophesying the most unfortunate, or taking credit for having had the power to prophesy certain unfortunate incidents that may have happened in the lives of other people. For me personally, I see that as, because we're on national television, I'll take my time in choosing my words. Very, very unchristian.
Very unchristian.
Very unchristian.
Are you claiming they are charlatans?
My brother Eduji was reminding us about the established Orthodox churches, the way their men of God handle situations. They are disciplined, they are well schooled in these things. They don't behave like that. Even the Ghana Pentecostal, not even, also the Ghana Pentecostal Council, they have very senior and highly respected men of God, and they are also associate pastors under them. You don't find a behavior like this. But if you check as to the kind of people who have made such pronouncements, it just shows you where they're coming from.
Where are they coming from, Mr. London? I don't understand you.
They are not coming from the Pentecostal Council. They're not coming from the Christian Council of Ghana.
Where are they coming?
They are coming from their
churches?
own. They are coming from their own. You offend them. Well, wherever they are coming from. You mentioned somebody's name. I mean, for me, I think we should also, in all honesty, accept part of the blame, because we are the ones who give them platforms. We give them platforms. When they do things like this, then we are dancing around them. We should call them out. We should call them out.
Saying we tend to cajole them.
Yeah, we should call them out.
For example, Prophet Owusu Bempah,
Yes.
accredited by himself for bringing the former president to power, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Over the weekend, this is what he said. I talked to the Archbishop and I told him I've been trying to call, but I hardly get anyone. I called somebody for 3 months and informed him about a looming tragedy, but we couldn't meet. I wanted to discuss with him so that we can see his bosses and find a way to deal with it, but he always had one excuse or the other. So now the prophets say they do the prophecy, whether it's Nigel Gazy, it's this one, and they don't tend to reach the officials. That's what they say.
Look, you see, I don't want to go personal with this matter.
How is this possible?
Anybody who has a serious message will find a way of delivering that message. Now it has been made official, it has been made public. If you have such a message, pass it through this way. And let the authorities know that this is what you have seen. Give the basis and everything of how you've got this prophecy. And we must hold you to it. We must hold you to it. We can't have situations where people will just, say some of these things, make some of these pronouncements, and then, it's not fair to the rest of the country. And in other countries, it doesn't happen not because there has been a law against it or there's a directive against it, but the kind of discipline that exists in the country has no space for this. If President Mahama is out and he's saying he's on a reset, I think this is one of the things we should reset. And resetting some of these things is not just by government pronouncements and, regulations. It must be a collaboration with the media, the Christian Council, Pentecostal Council, to call out some of these people. So we don't have space for these things in our...
But prophecies are real.
No, prophecies...
Have you been prophesied against before, Mr. Philip London?
Well, you see, a friend can prophesy. My brother, the way you are going, this is what can happen. In school, you have a teacher who will tell you, a housemaster will call you and tell you, my friend, the way you are going, if you are wise, you take that advice. It can come from your own friend, your brother, a member of your family. A man of God, because of his experience, what he's seen with other people, can look at you and tell them, my friend, the way you're going, this is what can happen. Or you're on the right track. Watch out for this, watch out for that. Those are prophecies, they are guidance, they are, But for somebody to just get up and say, I have seen a vision that this man is going to die. I was taught that there are two certainties in life. The fact that you were born and the fact that you will die. They are the only two certainties. Tomorrow is a guaranteed. So if any prophet goes somewhere and makes such a prophecy, we must call them out. We must seriously call them out. And it is, it can disturb anybody. It's not everybody who has the capacity to
accommodate.
Yes. Look, many years ago, a few decades ago, on my farm, I was a much younger man then. I was coming to build a fish pond. In those days, there was a national clamor to build fish ponds. So I was building a big fish pond. And the bulldozer that came to the farm was on a flatbed. And on the way to the site, you know, because of the blade of the bulldozer, it damaged the cassava on somebody's farm. Now, the individual in question was somebody who was feared. It was said that he has powers, he's that. Everybody was scared of him. So when this man came, that I had broken his cassava, he came to threaten and warn me.
Spiritually?
Oh, he warned me. Tell me that.
How did you avert the spirituality?
I didn't. I was not. Look, listen. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I just wasn't bothered about it, you know. And in the end, they found this person was found out for who he was. You see what I'm saying? So some of these people who come out with some of these things, look from the days of Acham, we've seen these things. In the end, how do some of those people end up? You see. So my point is that let us not give some of these people the platform. And when I say the platform, it is us, our response to them. Let's just call them out and condemn them. If you are a man of God, you make such a prophecy.
So if you make the prophecy, or you're saying they shouldn't undertake it publicly?
No. If you have a prophecy that something bad is going to happen to somebody, and you are a man of God, you will find a way of getting to that person to avert that thing. You will not sit back and wait. And when it happens, oh yes, I prophesied that this. No. A person like that is no man of God.
Well, so we've been joined by an official for the Ghana National Fire Service. It's also very important for all of us to look at the fiscal side of disasters as well as some of these emergencies when they happen, because when the prophecies and the spiritual happens, then you have to go physical to be able to remediate or pick up the pieces when they happen, the emergencies, etc. And appropriately, we have also in the studio one of the distinguished members or personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service, Assistant Chief Fire Officer 2, Rashid Kwame Nisawu, Greater Accra Regional Commander. You are. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and so after the prophecy, Mr. Yati, then they come to you. You have to pick up the pieces. And for many of those disasters, appropriately, what should we be doing?
Yeah, to start with, let me take this opportunity to greet the Director General and staff management of NADMO. No, we also lost one of our own in that accident, Deputy Director General, Mr. Abuaji. We lost him in that accident. So NADMO is mourning the loss of our Deputy Director General. And as I speak now, a book of condolence has been opened at the headquarters. And then, so there's an opportunity for all well-wishers to pass through, lay a wreath, a flower in honor of the late Abuaji, and also sign a book of condolence. So for us in NADMO, we are mourning. To these prophecies, I would say that I agree with the statement from the Honorable Elvis Efri Ankra. I think it's just a channel that is creating so that these prophecies of national interest will get to the source where action needs to be taken for the necessary action to be taken. So like our brother Eduji said, the prophets of today must learn from the examples of the prophets of old, Prophet Nathan and David. You could liken David to the president at the time. Like the prophet went to David and delivered the prophecy for David to put in place the necessary measures to avert whichever calamity would have befallen him. So yes, I agree, and I pray that all prophets will buy into that and channel all their prophecies for the appropriate actions to be taken to avert some of these disasters from happening. Then coming from the disaster management perspective, I would say that when incidents happen, the first line of response is always the volunteers or the people who are in the community. And nobody can begrudge them. Some of these people go with a genuine desire to assist. Some also go in just for the curiosity, want to know what has happened. And then of late, because of social media, people want to be the first to break the news. So sometimes even when they can do something to help, they are busily taking pictures and then posting them on social media. So sometimes the location of the incident is a factor. That is what affects the time of response. For example, in the immediate aftermath of this plane crash, it took some hours because of where the incident took place. And by the time the authorities got to the scene, the rural or local people had taken over and then even started recovering bodies. So sometimes you cannot stop them. But then once the professionals come on board, we need to make sure that we streamline the activities of these volunteers who are mostly not trained. We need to cordon off the area, put them at bay. That is why in a response situation, the police is always key for mob control. And then NADMO and then the fire service will then do the rescue and then the recovery. If there are survivors, we rescue them. If there are no, we recover whatever bodies can be recovered. But in this particular incident, the Ghana Armed Forces was key because, it was a military aircraft carrying the defense minister and top government officials. And the Ghana Armed Forces, I know they have their own protocols for dealing with such situations. So their protocols played a key role in bringing the situation under control.
Okay. Even your acknowledgement that naturally the first port of call would be the witnesses, the bystanders, etc., or those closest to the incident site. But again, the standard operating procedures, ideally, that we all should be knowledgeable of, we're bereft of them. Does that not then clearly indicate that as a nation, all of us, whether from you enter nursery to class 1, our knowledge and then response to disasters are just absent?
In a way, I would say that local people must understand that they are not trained, they don't have the know-how. Sometimes it's even the improper handling of victims that is what will ultimately lead to their demise. So you need to be, if you are not a trained person and you chance on any situation like that, the first thing to do is to call the emergency hotlines of the state. You call 112 and then report the incident. The appropriate authority will be deployed to attend to the situation. But like I said from the beginning, it's a natural desire to want to help. So they don't ask themselves, do I have capacity to help? Do I know what they don't ask themselves? They just move in with a desire to help save lives. So going forward, we must be educating people, educating communities, that when an incident occurs in your community, the first point of call is the emergency hotlines for appropriate response. If there are trained persons in the community, yes, then they can start doing something before the agencies arrive. That is the way we need to go. We need to educate more people to understand that you need to have a certain knowledge, expertise before you can attend to victims of any incident.
ACFO Nisao, he acknowledged that we need education. Yes. So we have to start education. It means that as a nation, we don't have the structures of conscientizing continuously individuals, whether it's from the educational system or extracurricular, perhaps sensitization activities, then even running through the general public. For example, the fire service, do you have that as a line of policy measure, so to speak, let's say each year? And why is it that we don't seem to be knowledgeable about the fair things to do in relation to the specific subject of fires or other disasters?
Okay, so I want to use this opportunity to extend my greetings to the Chief Fire Officer, the Acting Chief Fire Officer, Madame Daniela Ntoma Sapon. I also want to extend my condolence to the government and then the families of the victims. This is very unfortunate. We hope and pray to Allah that this thing should never happen again. I think this should be the last time we should see such a thing. Now, talking about incidents, we have different types of incidents. So I would like us to, first of all, if you are talking about incidents, a fire outbreak is an incident. A building collapse is an incident. An accident which is major that has claimed a lot of lives is an incident. I can go on and mention spillage. Spillage of oil, hazardous materials are all incidents. So if we are talking about a policy, in our balance, I'll be talking about things relating to what? Fire. That is what I'll be doing. I'll be talking about things in relation to what? Fire. You see, people approaching incidents like my brother said, because of curiosity and other things, they are endangering their lives. They are endangering their lives because let's look at a fire outbreak that has occurred. If it's a fire outbreak, the likelihood of an explosion is possible. It depends, of course, the type of fire. Even if it's a domestic fire, there are cylinders in the room or wherever the fire has what? Occurred. If it's a tanker that is burning, the likelihood of the tanker exploding is there. So if you go there with the intention that you are going to take pictures and other things, because of that, as a matter of standard operating procedures, you get there, the first thing to do is to cordon off what? The area. So if you are asking of the policy that we normally, what we do, you have to cordon off the area. Because if you don't cordon off the area and allow people to come closer and there is an explosion or there is something untoward that has happened, then of course you should be prepared that you are going to have more what? Casualties. So in issues of firefighting, in issues of oil spillage and all those things, the first thing to do is to what? Cordon off what? The area. Now, in cordon off the area, we have two types of what? Cordoning. You have the inner cordon, which is the hot zone, and then the outer cordon, which is the cold zone. Now, normally the outer cordon is being manned by what? The police. That is the responsibility of the police. So when we get to the fire ground, if you're asking of measures and policies, we have a relationship with the Ghana police. So what we do is that we call the fire master control. You see, the fire service is structured that our communications, or if it's at the national level, goes to the fire master control. If it's at the regional level, it goes to the divisional control. So long as you make a radio and the radio gets to the divisional control or it gets to the fire master control requesting for police assistance, they will also radio. They have a way of radioing to the police, and personnel will be deployed to make sure that they will give you the enabler environment to work. So if you are asking about what, as a matter of a service, the policy, that is what we do. So police in incident command management, police are integral. Police are integral because if they don't come in, you will not get the enabling environment to work with. Because people who come at fire grounds, people who come at oil spillages, a whole lot of things, everybody has his or her intentions. Even people come there to pilfer, to come and steal. So if you call in the police to come and cordon off the area, the outer cordons, they will take control of that. Then when you get into the hot zone, even the hot zone that I'm talking about, we as a service, not everybody personnel who is supposed to go into the hot zone. If you are, before you get to the hot zone, then it means that your incident commander might have detailed you on what to do before you get to the hot zone. So even if you are part of the crew and you are not into any activity, you are not supposed to be in the hot zone. So if you ask me, that is what as a service we do to be able to manage what incidents as a policy.
Okay, so you're talking about the SOPs. What about us, the public? to get to know that these are the SOPs? Because clearly, time without number, we flouted some of these standards, basic things we should know, tips.
So the PR section is there, and then we also have, you see, fire service, we have the fire safety department. They also go out to do education. So in their going out for their outreach educations, these are the things that we talk about. We go to schools, we go to institutions, industries. I don't know whether our men have been here before to train you. And these are some of the things that we do. So as soon as the safety department gets out there, they get to a school, they get to a church, they get to a mosque, they get to an institution. These are the things that we talk about. So it's a daily routine that, but as we speak, they are all over the place.
I don't understand. You do that?
We do. This is the second time I am coming here. The first time I was invited to 3 FM. I went to meet Hughes there. It was all about issues pertaining to fire. It was yesterday I had this call. I said, no, I have to take the opportunity to come and speak to issues. And I'm here. So it's evident that as a service, we are prepared, even at short notices, and you can bear me. So that is why I think that we are doing our best in such circumstances. Yes.
Okay. And so, so for example, this incident that happened.
Which of them?
The crash. Okay. What do you think if citizens knew, residents knew, continuously by intensified public education, they would have undertaken, hypothetically? You
see, before I get to the crash, I have listed incidents here. A Piety incident was one. When explosives were being transported to the western region. Atomic junction incident. I've also listed, there was this incident in Techimai when a tanker fell, had an accident, and people were siphoning fuel. Even the 2 military officers who went there to sack those people were not lucky. As soon as they got there was an explosion, and they also died. There is an incident that happened 2 months ago at Nima, Berlin Bridge. Firefighters were fighting the fire. Somebody felt that the firefighter had a shock because there was electricity in it. He dropped the hose, and somebody, a civilian, felt that no, he was not fighting the fire the way he felt he should fight, came and picked the hose, and he's a dead person now. You see. So if you look at these incidents all that I'm mentioning, you can see that the public have very little understanding.
But that's the problem, because the education is not enough.
You see, let me. You see, the education that we are talking about, unless you also avail yourself to be educated, you have to avail yourself to be educated.
How do you think citizens in normal communities, let's say Nima, that very incident site you mentioned, and then the communities that, let's say the closest we're told was on Forts over 1.5 hours to the incident, I should know on what to do?
You see,
how do you think they need to be disaster prepared?
Anytime there is an incident, that's why I was saying there are different types of incidents. This particular incident was a crash, isn't it? And it was in the forest. Now, the only people available at the time were what? The farmers. These farmers, I think everybody has a mobile phone now. And dialing 112 or 192.
Do they know it?
Oh, there are people who are farmers, who are very educated, who are farmers. I don't want to believe that all those people who went there cannot use mobile phone to call an emergency line. I don't want to believe that one. I don't want to believe that one. So I felt that that particular incident, those who got there, even though they went there to go and help, they could have also called the Ghana National Fire Service, which is Bekwai Division over there. Even as soon as they call and it's a crash, Bekwai Fire Service will also radio to the divisional control, which is in Kumasi, to get more support to handle the situation.
All right. It's not time for blame game, right? So we're here because we don't, ourselves as citizens, we don't know what to do. For example, for me, if somebody falls down right now,
usually,
CPR is even a problem for me.
Usually what I'm a bit cautious about is trying to be brave from a safe distance. I try to avoid it. You see, we are talking about innocent farmers, unskilled. We do not have the appreciation of their knowledge of education. Well-meaning people. Even their level of awareness. They are in their farms, they've heard explosion. Possibly having seen a helicopter much earlier or a split second and then this. The curiosity, the tendency to rush out there to see, even if they can provide a certain rescue effort, will be something that will be pressing on their mind. And now once you get there, the kind of thing that you'll be seeing, even the ability for you to even hold up, it's not a joke. I've been following the accounts, and I realized that even from Obuasi to the community, it's almost 2 hours driving, even if you are using a 4x4. Now you need to walk 1 hour, 30 minutes to the site of the accident itself. And to do all of these things in that space, it's not a joke. And that is why I have personally commended all the persons who were involved, particularly the natives within the area, the locals, and the work they have done in getting all of us to the stage where we are today. We should be commending them. I understand that there are protocols that you need to follow. But like we always say, even for lawyers, we always say something, necessity knows no law. Yes, sometimes in the midst of the event, you need to act. And by acting, you may not necessarily comply with all the safety protocols required. Maybe because of the exigency of the time. But that said, I strongly believe that there's nothing wrong at all in carrying fellow citizens along the line of best practice. I give you a classic example. The work we do, for instance, at NPA is to manage products that are highly inflammable. But I will interest you to note that should there be a tanker involved in an accident, you see our countrymen go with gallons to go and fetch the petroleum products.
The tankers.
And we have been pleading. We have been pleading with our people, don't do it.
Don't go near the falling tankers.
Don't go near. People have been trained to handle such matters. The fire service, they are here. That's their skill set. That is the education they have to the benefit of all of us. Don't go near. But you see a fellow citizen with a gallon going to fetch petrol because he has seen a falling.
Okay. So there's an incident, for example, that just stick.
Absolutely.
You can watch it from here.
What in God's name are you doing? Is your life equivalent to a gallon of petrol? Because at this stage, anything can happen to the tanker. Look, we have been doing public awareness. We've been encouraging our people, don't go near. Your life is more valuable than a gallon of petrol. Today, thanks to God, even petroleum prices have come down. So imagine your life with something that the price had come down. It's not worth the risk. Stay away. If you need petrol, go to a petrol station. You'll get a good gallon. And look, I've always been praying ever since I took this office with all the public awareness that we should never get to the point where will get a major disaster simply because our people decided that they'll go to a site of that nature because they can get free product. That's actually stealing. A product that does not belong to you and you are taking it. Don't do it. Wait. Let the fire service come. Put all the matters in control. Because you see, by that time, the engine of the car is very hot. A little drop can create a spark. And you are there to go and steal. Why? Don't do it. And we've been pleading with our people that don't get close to such things. Look, I want to single out an individual. The Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Amwakohene. Look, the courage of that young man is admirable. To have led that process, even identifying the almost bent bodies of these are heroes. I've seen people criticize and others. I mean, it's always calm to be brave from a safe distance. It's always good. But at that moment, the courage that you need to actually muster and go out there to help identify those individuals, it's not a joke. I personally also want to thank TV3. The professional perspective you brought to this whole thing is amazing. The resource person that you brought, I remember there was this squadron leader, Sobojo. He brought some...
Wing commander.
Wing commander, I mean, forgive me. The perspective that he brought to this whole conversation, the exaggeration, the conspiracies, and all the theories. But you can see the level of clarity that he brought to this whole discussion. And for me, it was heartwarming that you didn't reduce the whole conversation to a theater where everybody comes and is saying anything. But a certain level of expertise. Look at this morning. You've assembled disaster managers to be here.
Oversight authority.
Exactly. To be here. To provide a certain insight. I think I need to applaud this platform for such a good job. Look, me, for the thing that I've had, I'm even shocked that I'm here saying all this. Because these individuals were like very close to me. Samuel Abuaje, I still remember. On the 19th of December, I was in court with him as my client on these parliamentary election issues. And the interesting thing is that when I finished preparing my drafts, you know who I sent it to for review? Dr. Mane. I've been reading my WhatsApp chat. When I prepared the judicial review process, I sent it to him. Director Elections, I beg you, I need you to go through this process for me. He said, no, Eduji, just give me some few time, I'll get back to you. And many, because you're Director Election and I was Director Legal, I was working so close with him. I remember so vividly before the election, we needed to issue, and when I finished drafting the process, once again, I sent it to him. So we're basically just working together. As for Murtala, like I said earlier, we used to do Alaji and Alaji together with Mr. Philip. And he was the lone dissent on the panel. So days that myself, Uncle Kwesi Pratt, Murtala, and him, and Suhini would be hosting us. And he was usually the lone person, the lone MPP voice on the platform.
MPP, yeah.
Voice at that time. And when we finish, we will tell him, what are you doing here? Myself and Murtala. And so when this whole thing, and as for our father, Dr. Sapon, we're both FEC members. So we had regular FEC meetings on Tuesdays. And he was a father figure to many of us at FEC because we're mostly young people under 40, and others. And We deferred a lot. I remember when Mrs. Sampiale's issue, and he was trying to comfort us in the midst of everything. Nobody had absolutely no idea that this is how it is going to be. I remember being at one airport when the incident happened. Now I'm going to catch a flight back to Accra. At that point, I was praying that I could walk. Honestly, no, I was praying that I could walk to Accra. Because now I was just thinking, why should I go and sit in an aeroplane at this point, knowing that such a thing? I've never seen a man so cautious like Dr. Mani Buama. I've never. Beyond his intellect, very wild. I call him a brain box. And to see them flash out in a moment is the horror, the agony. I can only pray that God keep our old mother, Auntie Letitia, Omane's mother, 86 years old, and to have the burden of bearing your own son. That should be a heavy, heavy burden on him. Samuel Abuaje's mom is there. She's now going to have the burden of bearing her last born. In Salah, the squadron leader, the mom, is also the last born of the mother. So you can imagine at the personal level how these individuals are feeling. The young military officer with 2-month-old baby, what is going through the minds? I pray that the Republic, and these are men who died in the line of service, in the line of duty. The Republic should find a way of immortalizing their memory, basically to underscore the fact that public service and its associated risk is not something we should take lightly at all. Some of the work we do can completely be thankless. And in the specific case, I've heard journalists and others, and I think we are getting closer to the point where this particular disaster should get us to think deeply and with a lot of introspection. I'll tell you, when the thing happened, I spoke to a close aide of one of the presidential candidates the last time. He said, Ujie, this our work in public service and politics is thankless. And he was telling me how, in one of their journeys to Walawale, they had to do an emergency landing with the same helicopter. And he was telling me, he said, look, Eduji, if we have to retool, if we need to do something, this should be a rude awakening to all of us, that such things should be devoid of our usual NDC, MPP politics. It's about life. It's about life. And I strongly believe that the lessons from this disaster will live with us. We shouldn't behave like those people who immediately after a few days will forget that they were ever at this age. And to also told the NADMO, the fire service and others to be ever prepared for such things. It's quite unfortunate.
Well, we tend to do, and some colleagues of ours who lost their lives as well. I remember prior to 2016, there was an incident involving one of the buses of the presidential press corps.
The journalist. I think they were on their way to who?
Yes, Samuel. Samuel has since passed. He was my church member. And then also here we had, following the complication he received, may also rest in peace, Eddie Kwabi as well. And I remember myself being involved in a number of them as well. And I remember in one of those, there were a number of incidents of disasters, including floodings. I remember at the time, Kwame Nabatels, during the Kufuor administration, was a minister responsible for the sector, as well as other ministers. So we took... Okay, Works and Housing, okay. So we took a chopper. Then we went to Chiana, Paga, some of those areas. And then subsequently, at the time, the almost ineffective old jet of the president was then in the hangar of the armed forces. So when we got to Tamale, then we had to take that one. Already the chopper was not, it was a Russian-made one. Of course, you know, they always give us refurbished ones. They spray it nicely and they tell you, and we nearly had a disaster as well, losing altitude. Then when we got to the Tamale airstrip, or airports as we call it at the time, we also had a near disaster, because when we were coming to Accra, we had issues with the aircraft losing fuel. The weather was also bad. And we had to also circulate for about 15 to 20 minutes. And we nearly had a disaster running off the runway here at the Air Force Base. So all of us tend to face some of those ones, all in the name of public service, so to speak. But not to take you back, that's Eduji, because of where you occupy. The operator, those who tend to do the transportation of fuel, they have certification procedures they have to undertake each year, involving the fire service, environmental protection. I myself have been involved in a number of them as well. The RAID group, for example, with the Chairman Godwin Tamaklo, where annually they look at the fire safety and then the environmental procedures. They do simulations, try to educate the public when there are accidents, etc. But we just also don't seem to listen.
Just recently, the chamber of oil marketing companies, COMAC, led by their CEO, my good brother, Dr. Riverson, and the board chair, Mr. Kumi, they had to do a safety week. And where I sit, we always tell them, on the issue of safety, no compromises. On the issue of safety, no compromises. Because, again, like you pointed out, we do mystery shopping and all of those things, just to see that you are, because you see, usually when you tell the person today, I'm coming for inspection, you put his house in order. You understand? The person will put his house in order. But once you get there, unannounced, then you can see the true state of affairs. And we insist on this matter. So for us, we co-labor with institutions like fire service, among others. And your boss, my big sister, we've been working together to ensure that some of these things, we get it done. Again, like I said, no compromises on the issues of safety. And that is why I've used some part of my time on this platform to plead with our people. Anytime you see a tanker down, don't go with your gallon. Sometimes you don't even know what to do to human beings. To be honest, you don't even know whether to arrest them, cage them, or whatever. But then, you see, there's also the thing called democracy.
Kebi namin kebi.
Due process.
Talk make a talk.
So, no matter how you feel, you still have to comply with what? Due process. What? I've never seen in Europe a tanker had fallen and people come from their houses. What they rather do is to be calling 911. Here, our 911 is a gallon.
It's the same thing I was asking ACF for Nissan. Do you even have a chopper? Ghana National Fire Service? Not, do you have a chopper?
You are elevating the
No, you mentioned Europe.
Why are you doing this?
No, but see,
And not more chopper. You see some before. But these are the critical questions we should be asking. The various disasters that we've had. Today, should we have a major problem? Maybe the Air Force, they do. But NADMO, look, somebody sent me a message. He said, look, even they, as NADMO officials, what's the level of training they have annually on disaster preparedness? It's a major problem for them. The various districts. Look, if we do an audit of your institution and we look at the mandatory training you've been offering, even your staff, we'll all be found wanting. So I think we should not be waiting for certain to happen before we'll get involved.
Do you have a chopper? It's here for.
Okay,
Do you have a chopper? Okay, so
we don't have a chopper as National Disaster Management Organization. So we have this, what we call the Disaster Management Committee, which brings on board other technical agencies with resources.
So almost
and
like a
Ghana
pool.
So Ghana Armed Forces is a key part of the committee. So when there's the need and we need a response, we can follow the Ghana Armed Forces.
All right. So in something like this, how do you complement the efforts for helping the disaster agencies?
Helping disaster agencies.
Helping the disaster agencies, or complementing the efforts of perhaps first response, so to speak, usually?
Yeah, like we are always the first line of response in every disaster. But like every disaster also calls for a multi-sectorial disciplinary approach. So once, looking at this crash, when we got the information, they were still at the launch in Obuasi when the information came that, and then it took about more than an hour for the information to reach NADMO and the other agencies. So, and then like my brother said, moving from Obuasi to where the incident had occurred, in itself took about 2 hours before you trek to the site of the incident itself. So, talking about cordoning off the area, and this is a mountaintop, a wide area. By the time these professionals or agencies, mandated agencies, got to the scene, the locals had taken over the whole place and started even with the recovery process. Some had carried parts of the aircraft, whatever they could lay their hands on, they had carried it away. So it was very difficult to call it. But the locals indeed relayed the call. When the incident occurred, they called the chief executive of the area, who also called the regional minister, who were at that function in Obuasi. So that call was there, that process. So it's not entirely true that the locals, they knew that they had to call. But then before then, let's try and save the situation. Let's see what we can do. And like I'm saying, it took about 2 to 3 hours for officers to get to the scene. By that time, the locals had already. So, and once you get to the scene, you need to be guided by the volunteers, because they know the terrain, and then you need a briefing from them on what has happened, what has been done so far before you proceed. So that was exactly what was done, and then all 8 bodies were recovered and then transported and then brought to Accra for the necessary ceremonies.
Mr. London, assessing per your experience and observation over the years, are policy, perhaps deployments or implementation, when some of these things happen, or even in readiness to preempt, etc., what should we be doing right?
I think...
because there's a particular incident where we say 911 is on the lips of everyone else. They hear a noise, they call 911. They see somebody in the neighborhood, they call somebody else.
Yes. Well, it's on this platform this morning that I think I heard the number 112.
Wow. And I heard it for the first time.
Yes. No, I'm being very honest. 112. I'm hearing it for the first time. Me, I always knew it. And we were taught from primary school, 999.
999.
Yeah. Then along the way it became 911.
112.
112. The numbers changed.
It looks like it's confusing us more. So you...
No, you see,
so what number is that? Your number is what?
112.
112.
Okay.
Okay, but I think later on became emergency number became 911, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I know 911. But I've seen other, short codes and things all over. But we must standardize it and let everybody know. In the past, were always, if in those days when there was Valco, the safety standard in Valco was such that even the way you walk in the place is controlled. Safety was 100%. If you went to Obuasi mine or any of the mines, safety was a way of life.
Rigorous.
If you go to the armed forces, the military establishments, and everything is safety-based. Safety and security. You don't go. I've been to construction sites in other parts of the world, particularly in Turkey. You do not, if you are not supposed to be here, you are not there. And every individual on the site is identified. You see, so the policies and protocols are made national issues. Everybody knows it. But it looks like in the recent past, Fire Service has their own, NADMO has their own, everybody has their own, and there isn't a concerted approach whereby everybody knows, where the assemblies drum it in, all the local FM stations drum it in. It is a national, ongoing conversation that is present in everybody's mind at any material time. I want to commend the Ghana Fire Service. I've seen that lately there are some new initiatives that they put in place. One of which, I understand, is that you tend to station
A tender.
a tender at markets.
Yeah, we've done that. That's the patrol duties.
Patrol duties. I would want to encourage, I don't know whether it's part of their plans, encourage them that at the markets, do inspections and education of the market women. Because at the markets, as a land economist, there are certain things that are incompatible uses. You can't have somebody selling certain types of hazardous material next to some items, textile and other things. But you see it rampant in our markets. There's no proper zoning. Everybody hangs everything everywhere, So when there's an outbreak here, it travels like, So I would want to see a more pronounced effort to get these policies very clearly outlined and strongly articulated from our educational system, our universities, all the institutions, so that students and persons have it in their foreminds. GPRTU, I would hope that National Fire Service would have an engagement with GPRTU. New plan station, various stations from time to time, get their leaders to get some of their drivers at a regular interval. These things will become conscious to everybody and assist us in this effort, So I think that, yes, this unfortunate tragedy has brought to the fore some of these things that are lacking. And so it reminds us to be able to focus better and see how best we can help ourselves in situations like this. Then another thing too that has happened in this, in the aftermath of this incident, which I must commend. I don't know how it's described. What has been done outside Flagstaff House, Jubilee House?
The memorial.
The memorial, where people have gone to leave flowers. I must commend whoever,
The initiative.
the initiative. I must commend it. You see, like we're discussing, all of us are constantly at risk. I drive to Cape Coast and back very often. At various points on the road, there used to be signs, or there are still signs there that say, 15 people died here, 4 people died, as a way of reminding drivers to be cautious
From
on the
Potting,
road.
going to Winneba.
Yes, on the way to Cape Coast.
Overspeeding
Yes,
kills.
yeah.
15 people
Died here. 7 people
especially
died
the
here.
various-
Was National Road Safety.
Yes, to Cape Coast and back very often. That because it's going it's going to come to a time if we do not do something drastic about it, we are going to lose fresh water in this country. All our water bodies are dying. It doesn't support any life. You see, so while commending the late compatriots for what they were doing, I hope that it will galvanize all of us as a nation.
All right.
Fight against Ghana.
Before I get to ACFO Nisao, let me just also as part of the conversation ongoing, what the responses have been from some of our viewers watching subsequently. This one is coming from Ejina, and who says that, making reference to the issue of the prophet and the biblical prophecy, I find it difficult to understand why, whenever a major incident occurs, it is mainly Christian clergy who later claim that God revealed it to them. Is that truly how God works? And is this the way prophecies were delivered in the Bible? And he continues and makes example of Nathan, Ezekiel, and Jeremiah, Amos, Jonah, among many others, to emphasize this point. Thank you very much for that. And then Ato Kwamina Aiken says, President Mahama has in the last 8 months done what even foreigners see as remarkable, yet our own people are fighting so hard to make things difficult for him. What was it wrong for him to reduce inflation, etc.? And then you talk about, okay, let's tone down the politics of the time. I'm sure that after next week we can come back to key issues, etc. And Eduji also pointedly said conspiracy theories should also. Now, this one is coming from Paddy. Good morning to you, bro. He says 191, 192, 193, and 112 is the. And 112 is the general one. The rest are ambulance, fire, and police. That's all?
Yes.
Okay, so the 999 is not working again?
No, that has been decommissioned long ago.
So which others were and have now been decommissioned? I'll come to ask you that. And then there's also a toll-free number that was on for MTN as well, 18555 for the police. I remember that as well. PHK says that, I want to humbly urge the president to declare the very day these men died as a national holiday of which PHK. If Antoinette is watching us from the UK, it says very educative program and then discussion so far. We need more of this. If people were educated on which numbers to call, especially which numbers in their locality, district, municipality to call when disaster struck, then also that will be a good justification for proper education. Let's always preempt and not always be late when the disaster strike. Father Ankra, good morning to you, says, I think the as a regional, okay, so you also said now could human bodies be carried out in the way they were, but within the period of the disaster, what could have been done, what has been done was also importantly what has been undertaken so far. And this one is coming from Chairman Prosper, who was watching, says that sometimes I think these spiritual people and men of God could be doing these things against officialdom just to make themselves popular, and then also to make these things happen, also perpetrate some of these actions as well. It's just a conspiracy theory, but anything can happen right here in Ghana. We need to make sure that we enforce this. If you have a disaster by way of revelation, make sure that you go to the office and let them discuss with you how you undertake that. Very important. Why is it that you don't have choppers? Your man, as Mr. Yati here, says that you have a pool, but first response should be that you have the facilities, and then subsequently, is it for want of not having enough?
Okay, so if you are talking about Ghana National Fire Service, the type of equipment that you are looking for must match with the risk that you want to use that equipment to combat. So, for example, if we are talking about motors, there are fire motors that are designed in a way that you can use them. It's one firefighter on a motorbike. So those ones, you can use them to maneuver in traffic to be able to extinguish car fires. There are also fire tenders that you can use to fight domestic fires, commercial fires, bush fires, and so on. But with the chopper, the helicopter that you are talking about, I think it's not bad. I think that is where drones and helicopters is what we should be looking at now. Because looking at where this incident happened, the fire tender got to a place and couldn't continue. So assuming that at least we had even one helicopter, at least they would have gone there. And these days, technology is far advanced. You can have fireballs, CO2 in the form of balls at a certain height. You can throw them in and suppress the fire. So for me, as a commander, I'll be so glad to hear that fire service have been given helicopters. And I'll also suggest...
You mean one day?
One day. That's as a long-term...
in our lifetime? You and I, our lifetime?
I hope it can happen in our lifetime.
You are hoping?
I know it can happen. Now,
you are knowing it will happen?
It will happen by the grace of Allah. It will happen. Now, I also think that we can make it this way. We can zone the country to have maybe the northern zone, the middle zone, and the southern zone, so that we can have a joint command center in the south, we can have a joint command center in the middle, we can have a joint command center in the north, so that one can be the north can be in Tamale, the middle one can be in Kumasi, and then the south can be in Accra, so that in time of emergency, you see that all the relevant agencies like NADMO, the fire service, the military, the police, ambulance, everybody will be there. It is not now that they will call a fire service separately, then ambulance will join. So I think the last time I made this suggestion, that I think that we should have a joint command center, that all these agencies who matter will be at one place, that you can have one shop to get them into action at just one call. So that is one suggestion that I want to make. Now, I'm happy lawyer is here. I want to appeal to him. When I was in Kumasi, regarding these tankers that you just saw, what we did was that the NPA, the transporting association, all the police, the fire service, we had a plan. We had a contingency plan. Okay. We drafted a contingency plan with the minister being the head of that emergency response unit. Then if the MPA is there, police is there, fire service is there, NADMO is there. So as soon as there is a tanker accident, it's very easy. What we used to do, even if the first responders get to the fire ground, as soon as they send the images to me, I'll put them on the WhatsApp platform. Then quickly it rallies MPA. Some of the assistants, we need to even come down to Tema to be able to get vehicles to go and lift. Good, because of the weight and then the type of crane that you need to lift. And even we don't even encourage lifting these days, because if you lift and you are not lucky and the chain is torn and it falls back, then that one will be the worst. So what we do normally is to take the product from the loaded one into an empty tank, then we can now lift the empty tank off. So if you ask me, that would be my advice, that at least since the man in charge of NPA is here, I think I'm talking to the right person. We can have a contingency plan that we draft in conjunction with NADMO, the police, all those agencies that matter. We have a WhatsApp platform. Everybody will be on it. As soon as an incident happens, quickly. We also have people, these transporters who are in Tema. They have an association where they have hoses. It's not every pump that can take those products. They have special...
They are even more skilled.
They are more skilled. That is why they...
meeting with them,
Good.
One of the things that came out is when usually these things happen, they are sometimes forced to move from Accra to that place.
Yes.
Because of the special skill they have.
That is true.
On how to do a proper discharge into a different, vehicle for the purposes of getting everybody safe.
Yes.
But I think the most, like I pointed out, is the issue of our people rushing. Look, have you seen a truck carrying Guinness or beer and it has fallen before? Our people go and carry the crates. Some even, discharge the Coca-Cola into buckets. What is this? Roland? You have a voice, I want to believe.
You're also here, you have a voice.
Talk to them.
You've seen the coverages we've done on the motorway where people drink it on site.
So
the same thing that you're leading to with fuel.
Yes. So
If they could drink, they would have drunk it. They want to go and sell.
Seriously, no, so to avoid the drinking, that's why they come with a gallon.
So I've witnessed this particular thing that is saying on countless occasions. As for the towns dotted on Accra-Kumasi Highway, make no mistake that a tanker is down. In the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, the tanker will be empty. It will be empty. So I want to use this medium. TV3 is a very big platform to appeal to our brothers and sisters. This is a very dangerous activity that you'll be engaging, that you, if you are not lucky, causes of fire, you see, fuel in fire engineering science, anything that can burn is called fuel. But we have three types of what fuel. We have solid fuel, which is not too volatile. We have liquid fuel, and we have fuel in the gaseous what form. So that if the atmosphere is charged with leaked petrol, and you are busy siphoning, remember these gases that are carrying the vapor fuel that is in the atmosphere, wherever it is going, it goes to pick flame, it will come back and then explode. We call it what? Flashback. We call it flashback. So I'll use this your platform to plead with the general public to stop that attitude. It is very, 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 very bad. If we are not lucky and we continue the way we are going, one day it will be a disaster. Let me give you an example. In Liberia, last year, I have that video. I'll send it to you. They were busy siphoning, and then the tanker exploded. Everybody around that environment was consumed by the fire. So I want to use this opportunity. Your platform is a big one to appeal to the general public. And when a tanker is involved in fire, an accident, please do not go close to the place. Do not go close to the place. Leave the experts to do their work. The police will come and cordon off the area, give us an opportunity to start our cooling, dilute the fuel, and allow the experts to come and take the product from the loaded tanker into an empty one, take the other one away, and the environment will be safe, everybody will be safe. Otherwise, one day, we will register what we don't want to see and hear. I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Well, let me also add that, in fact, it's not only even about tankers. When accidents occur, apart from curiosity, some also individuals rush to loot.
Yeah.
They will be searching the pockets of injured persons. And so these are the things that we need to do more education for our people to know that when you don't have any reason to be at an incident site, just stay away. Don't rush because you cannot offer any help. Just call the emergency hotlines for the professionals to come. If genuinely you have a skill that will be needed, once the professionals get, sometimes we recruit volunteers. We recruit people who have some skills that can help, or some people come with some equipment that we need. So we recruit them and then work with them. But some people just go there to loot. That is why it is always very important for the police to be around every incident, to cordon off the area, control the mob action, so that the NADMO and then the Ghana National Fire Service, and in a very serious situation when we need the military as a backup, we can,
then you call them in.
Yeah, call them in for effective response.
All right. So how have you zoned the country when it comes to disaster response?
We have not so, but we know that, for example, depending on the type of disaster, like when it comes to floods, we know the southern sector and then the northern sector. No, we have different patterns in terms of the rainy seasons. So now we are entering the northern sector rainy season. So when it comes to that, we have the southern sector and then the north sector. So it depends on the disaster type that you want to look at. Then we look at the vulnerable areas, and then we do the mappings.
Can I?
The helicopter will come.
You know, I want to ask for your permission to put the contact number for the Ghana National Fire Service, the Fire Master Control. I want to mention those numbers. I think it's very important it's also a culture that we don't have. That you see somebody highly educated and he cannot memorize even the number of the Ghana National Fire Service. So it's 030-277-2446. I repeat, 030-277-2446. This one will go direct to the Ghana National Fire Service headquarters. 030. Yes, this number 030-277-2446. You can get it direct to the Fire Master Control, and assistance will be extended to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you as well. Sorry for the question on bothering you with the chopper question, the helicopter question.
No, I think it's a fair question.
Because when
it's a fair question. I agree with you.
Everybody knows it. Because we watch the movies and
it's a fair question.
They always call him. So that's why. My apologies to you, just in case you go and you don't like it.
Brother, I like it now.
Okay, okay. But thank you very much as well, Mr. Yate, and then, of course, Mr. London. Okay. And then thank you as well. And Eduje, thank you. Wish you all the best.
As you are aware, Friday will be the interment of the non-Muslims. And you know, by Muslim tradition and custom, you needed to intern their people much earlier. So hopefully on Friday, the rest of our compatriots would be given befitting state burial. It's a sad day, and we pray such a thing never happen again in our history.
At the Independence Square?
That the blaster, the Independence Square.
Roland, let me also take this opportunity on behalf of my Director General. Maybe let me invite TV3 and then NPA, Ghana National Fire Service, civil society, and all. You can pass through NADMO to sign a book of condolence, and then offer a flower in memory of our departed colleague, boss, and friend. So
the party too has opened a book of condolence at the party headquarters. So, Roland, I will encourage you and your media. Already you've done so well.
I thought you wanted to blame us, so I wanted to take you on. But it's good that you...
You passed through.
I can only, Oliver Trace, ask for more. TV3 has been exceptional in the coverage of these events.
We're always exceptional, won't you say? All around.
I hope to see
Thank you, Eduje Tamaklo. And, okay, so the number mentioned is a landline to the Fire Master Control, and that's a Paddy. Hey, Paddy, you seem to have a lot of failure. Had to work with NADMO as well. Wishing you all the best for the day. And more importantly, all right. But thank you all, gentlemen. We, again, have to tell you that we have charts. It goes with the short code stand 439#. Make sure that you're part of this. And importantly, and let's get to know what you think. Choose option 2. Increase the number of tickets you have. And as many times as you can, become one of those lucky winners. All right. All right, so we also have this new game, very beautiful as well, by Radio Entertainment as well, in collaboration with the National Lotteries Authority. The ABC game is making sure that they pay you big, and your name as well as your number could be next. So all you need to do is to make sure you dial the short code *262#. You pick alphabets. You know, the alphabet you have, there are 26. Just pick 3, all right? 3. You stake them and just 5 Ghana cedis. Win up to 1 million Ghana cedis. And with daily draws at 10 a.m., 2:30 p.m., 5 p.m., and 9 p.m. Again, 10 a.m., 2:30 p.m., 5 p.m., and 9 p.m. You can certainly play multiple ones and become one of those lucky. So when you play up to the 10 a.m. period, then you get ready for the 2:30 one, the 5 p.m. one, and I tell you, you also get to have 9 p.m. as well. And it's for the board players. I can see a lot of accompanying good smile in the studio as well. So the board players, we just have to make good choices. So Friday jackpot is the real deal. All right, you have 1 letter, you get to win 3 times your stake. You have 2 letters correct, you win 8 times your stake. You have 3 letters, that's all the letters correct any order. You pick the way you pick them, but if they interchange in the draw, don't worry. You have 200 times your stake. And then if you pick them, let's say ABC, and the draw was done and it was ABC, easy, 2,000 times your stake. And that will also mean that 20,000 Ghana cedis and more. So make sure you play subsequently as many times as you can. Just play more than 10 Ghana cedis per round. Increase your winnings as well. Remember, this is licensed by NLA under the Caritas platform. This is when we have to go for a break. When we come back, we'll bring you the latest sports headlines. Stay with us. All right, and we also know that in the Ashanti region, the regional minister, Dr. Frank Amakohene, has already indicated that for all those who need some professional psychological help and counseling, those services will be available, particularly for the individuals from the communities nearby within the precinct of the fatality or the incident more appropriately, as well as the reporters, etc. There could also be given the opportunity to see some psychologists or receive some help and try to put their minds and psyche up to scratch. And we know that one person who was one of the initial numbers or individuals to get close to ground zero for this disaster or crash is our own lead reporter in the Ashanti region, Ibrahim Abubakar, who has received a lot of commendations all over, not only on mainstream, but also from well-meaning people and individuals right here. And Ibrahim, I saw you narrating the incident firsthand, but subsequently, in relation to this directive by the Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Amakohene, what's it like? What really is this help?
Well, Roland, as I speak to you, since Friday, I would say after we did a discussion on some of the residents picking parts of the chopper home on Ghana Tonight on Thursday. From Friday, the Member of Parliament for the area, Joseph Azuma, and also the MCE, went to the community on two missions. One, to commend the community for supporting in the retrieval process of the bodies, and also two, to plead with them, especially the youth who are picking bits and pieces of the chopper or any item from the crash scene to return it. On Friday, we saw some people bringing out some items. One person even brought a wristwatch. Others also brought some parts. As we speak, just some few minutes ago, I spoke to the assembly member for the area, and he said even as at yesterday, the residents have been bringing parts of the chopper and also items they have picked from the crash scene to him, and he is also handing them over to the military. So this implies that people are indeed complying with that directive that whoever has picked any item from the crash site should return it. And they have been told that these are things that are very crucial in the investigation. You may never know which part will even aid in the investigation. So they are abiding by it as we speak. Military presence is still on the ground. Police investigators are still there. Like I said, since Friday, they have begun collecting all the debris at the crash site and also its surrounding, and they are putting everything together to be sent to Accra for further investigation. So this morning, the community very calm, even though the ban is still in force, and they are still not allowed to go to their various farms because the farms are located within the forest that the incident have happened. But there have been support that have been given to them so that at least since it is their main livelihood, whilst they have been asked to abstain from attending to their farms, there are some forms of support they are being given to kind of take them on until the ban is lifted. So they are complying. Like you rightly mentioned, yes, there's Ashanti Regional Minister has mentioned that there will be some joint for people who have been to the crash site to receive some form of psychological assistance. As I speak, I'm here to go to the Regional Coordinating Council, but I've been reliably informed that stands have been mounted there. We have Ghana Health Service together with RCC partnering to do that. Even at the community, similar one has been mounted there to make sure that they provide all psychological assistance to anyone who has been to the crash site, hence maybe being traumatized one day or the other, one way or the other.
Yeah, and if Antoinette in the UK is monitoring our stream and was saying that beneath that post by the Ashanti Regional Minister, Somebody posted that your reporter, Ibrahim, also needed that sort of help. But it's not that Media General, we are providing you that as well. But have you also been in a state of perhaps, effect of seeing as firsthand what happened and then also being at the center being interviewed? How's the feeling like?
Well, Roland, I can tell you that it has not been easy, especially on the first day. I couldn't sleep for even 5 minutes because you keep seeing flashback of whatever you are seeing there. This was one of the horrific scenes I've seen. I wouldn't go into details, but one way or the other, I've also gone through a lot. But thankfully, I'm back. And like our job requires us, we are just like the police, the military. Regardless of the situation, you must soldier on and be able to provide the public the detail that they need to hear. So yes, we've all been affected, but some way, somehow, we've been able to kind of overcome it a little so that it wouldn't affect our work. Because I'm sure whoever has been to the crash scene, seeing how the bodies were being retrieved, seeing even to the extent of you don't even find the chopper, any major part of the chopper at the scene, then you begin to understand the extent of impact when it comes to this incident. And for that matter, I believe it is in the right order for the minister or the authorities to provide this kind of psychological assistance. I'm not sure how big, in fact, even there are people who have not been to the crash scene, but the mere fact that they saw us coming with the bodies even to the community, some were also traumatized and they may need these kind of services.
Well, just be on the stream, Ibrahim. I'll come back to you before we conclude the discussion. And I have, a forensic expert, Mutawakil, who is joining us this morning. Good morning to you, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Okay. And especially with your profession and the things that you tend to notice and the discussion around having a proper verification, investigations forensically into getting into the nitty-gritties, what really were the causative factors, etc. What do you think, by way of you monitoring the public space, what the commentary is, what the actions have been as communicated by those in authority regarding this, for us to be able to get to the bottom of the subject?
Okay, first of all, I know this has been said severally, but I'd just like to restate them again. The key reasons why we are doing this forensic examination is that when we want to answer questions, there are so many questions that we don't know. We need to answer those questions and clear doubts. Yeah. And then that will lead to honoring the victims, providing honor to the victims, and also justice to the relatives of the victims. And then the last but most important one is also to prevent future occurrence. Once we're able to establish the fact, we would prevent such occurrence from happening again in the future. If you look at this whole scenario, there are two components of investigations. One is with the human remains, that is the bodies, and the other one is also with the aircraft. So with the bodies, there are two things we want to do there. One, we need to identify the bodies. That is through the DNA analysis that was being done and confirmed. Now we know each and every body who it belongs to. After doing that body, that is not enough. Because some people might be like, well, after identifying the body, let's end the investigations there. But it's not enough because there are so many scenarios. People think that, oh, after the crash, it's an accident. But let me just bring these things to you and the viewers. What if, there are so many what ifs that we don't know. We know that this incident that the people are going to Galan is a serious issue. People might be after these dignitaries. What if we know someone might have drugged the pilots maybe before they went into flight? It was in the morning, maybe in their breakfast, someone kept some drugs in there to drug them so that they would lose consciousness and then the crash happened. What if there was an explosive device planted into the aircraft? What if probably someone, let's say, shot the plane from sky? All these questions are things that we don't know. So for that reason, further examinations or forensic processing needs to be taking place. And after identifying the body, the next step is to do a postmortem examination. That is an autopsy. Through the postmortem examination, we can tell if the people died long before the accident, or probably they just died upon impact immediately. That would help us understand. And apart from that, too, we can take tissues and send them for toxicological analysis. From the tissues, we can tell that, if the human body was, let's say, in a very good condition, maybe the person was not drugged, the person was not under influence of alcohol, all these things would help us tell or describe the scenario or understand the circumstances regarding the incident. So let me just put that one on hold, and I'll move to the side of the aircraft. To the side of the aircraft, what I've not seen people talking about is identifying the aircraft. How sure are we that the aircraft that is burnt is even the aircraft that the people flew with from where they flew from? Have we done any examination to even verify what if, because the aircraft lost connection already for some minutes, hours before it was being discovered? What if the aircraft had stopped midway or somewhere, and then there was a change in aircraft? Those are just wild scenarios, right? There are possibilities. So we need to even identify that the aircraft that took off was the same aircraft that we discovered that was being crashed or burnt. Through aircraft was identification processes. And there's an issue of black box. The black box will help us also identify the aircraft, definitely. But we also, before even using any information from the black box, we need to make sure that the black box that we are looking at is the actual black box of the aircraft itself. Then there might be other unique features and patterns again, because I saw in videos, I wasn't at the scene, but I saw videos of people handling parts of the aircraft. All these could also be called and assembled. Then it will have the reference to the previous or the original state of the aircraft to actually identify that indeed this is the aircraft that the people flew with. There has not been any change. Now, after identifying the aircraft on its own, we need to do something we call a scene reconstruction. The reason for the scene reconstruction is to know the how and then the when and then the why this whole accident happened. And by doing that, there's a lot of information that we could use that are available right now. We can look at the radar and air traffic control room to gather those data to help us in the reconstruction process. There's also satellite imagery. We can look at satellite imagery. We can pull satellite data to monitor the pathway of the craft to be able to help in the reconstruction process. There have been pieces of the aircraft that have been displayed at various points, different places. All these pieces can be brought together, looked at it from a holistic view, to know that indeed the craft might have started dismantling from at this particular point, and that is where the accident began, or that is where they fought before the final impact. There have been issues of something that the aircraft was flying at low altitude and all those stuff. So through data, we really understand why did the aircraft have to fly at low altitude, and even at that low altitude, was it enough for the person to impact a tree or not? If it has not impacted a tree, could it have impacted other objects or animals that are flying higher than trees? There could be a bird impact. There could be other impacts from the sky that we don't know. It could even be a ballistic or a missile impact. All these things would need to be ascertained by looking at the parts of the aircraft. For example, let's say you look at one aspect of the aircraft and realize there's a very big, unusual hole there, which corresponds to a size of a missile. Then we can now speculate that probably someone might have shot the aircraft from below. Yeah. Those are wild speculations, but we need to clear all those doubts for certainty.
All right. So by way of the procedure, making these scenarios known and then the simulations will be critical, right? What about syncing that with the disaster area, the topographical state of it and access, in the scheme of things?
Okay, so with the disaster management, I've heard a lot of experts that have done justice to this topic. It's rather unfortunate to say that, we don't have that kind of emergency response and disaster management readiness. We don't have it, even though we have the people in NADMO with some kind of our recovery process is not up to the Interpol standards. So this is more of like a wake-up call for all agencies and stakeholders to stand up and revise. We need a strategic policy that would incorporate all these kind of body recovery processes to avoid what happened, because I don't even want to go into the nitty-gritties of what happened. It's very, 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 very sad. The way things were being handled is not up to international standards. And I would just like to draw this to attention. Like Ghana is not, we in Ghana here, we are not really that low in terms of forensic science. We are more of like a hub when it comes in terms of West Africa. other African countries look at us. They come to us for forensic consultation, training, and advice. So if they watch us doing these things, it's very, very, very sad, because they are relying on you for you to help them in terms of forensic and victims money. They come to you, teach them. Imagine seeing your teacher doing something which is not up to international standards. So the whole management process needs to be given a review, and then we need to upgrade, and then we need to push things towards the standards are there already. All we need to do is what people who are serious about it, then we make the implementations.
All right. Ms. Amadou, Mutawakil Amadou, forensic person, just giving us his perspective. Is Ibrahim gone or is still available? Ibrahim, are you accessing the service available, psychological counseling, as put forward by the Ashanti Regional Minister, Ibrahim Abubakar?
Well, Roland, I'll be there later in the day. It's very important because we do not know what is likely to happen in the next days. But as we speak, I can confirm to you that I'm fit, I'm in the right frame of mind to do my job. But since the service has been offered, it's quite important we all go there and also be able to assess it, so that maybe we don't wait till the coming days and be thinking that we will need these services. So yes, later in the day, I'll also be going there to check myself.
So when is the deadline? What's the deadline too?
Well, for now, I do not know the deadline. Like I said, I've not even been there, but I'm rightly informed that that services are being rendered. So maybe hopefully after we are done with this morning's activity, I'll walk there and see whether it's between today or tomorrow or it will be extended. But for the community, I'm told that it will last for a number of days. So each and everyone in the community, and even those along the community who came there, will be able to witness. In fact, it's not only the community. I'm even told even the Pro-From district, because people came all the way from that area to also observe what was going on, they can also access those services free of charge at the district assembly.
Well, thank you so much, Ibrahim Konchewa. And I know that for other relevant discussions as well, you join us. Okay, so when is the deadline for the items to be going?
Well, per the regional minister's statement, the deadline is supposed to be today. But like I said, even minutes before I joined the Zoom, I spoke to the assemblyman who told me that the community have complied, even though they have also taken that initiative to do random checks from house to house, room to room, just so they make sure that by today, they've been able to collect every single item that was picked at the crash site to be given to the minister. But you see, because when the incident happened, the community members were there earlier before even the security got there, maybe an hour or even more. So it's even possible someone may have picked something, kept it somewhere, but no one can be aware, because it's not as if you see the full helicopter and know that, okay, well, we can't find the boat or we can't find this part, so it's obvious someone has taken it. These are some things that's scattered in the forest. So whatever they bring forth is what they will tell you that they have been able to pick. So they are not allowing the military to intervene when it comes. So the assemblyman, the unit committee, go to the people and they talk to them, they hand it over to them, then they also hand it over to the military who are currently on the ground.
Ibrahim Abubakar, top-notch reporting, disaster site, ground zero, making sure that all the related information, and we've got the best when it comes to TV3 Media General right here. And again, just espousing that, trying to recall what has transpired and doing that on Akuma FM as well, not only on TV3, but also on NUA, subsequently Connect FM, and he's your man. As always, if you want to get the latest, not only from Ibrahim, the rest of the subsidiaries of Media General, just go to TV3 across social media. 3FM is also available. Akuma FM, Connect FM that's based in the Western Regional capital of Takrady. Let me say good morning to Abdullah, one of our lead producers for one of our main shows, The Key Point. That guy is just great. Good morning to you, all the best. But can we do some birthdays before we wrap up? And okay, let's do some cash outs and see whether we can wrap up with some goodies this morning. 3, 2, 1. The number winning in this draw is the number 0540245 ****. Are we doing another? We'll do another very soon, but not before we tell you why you need to get ready to sing your heart out under the city light. So make sure you join this for an unforgettable evening of music, laughter, and great vibes at the Phoenix Restaurant, Mervyn Peak Ambassador Hotel, right here in Accra. Whether you're a seasoned performer or just love cheering from the crowd, like many of us do, playing bass behind, you can join their karaoke nights, which promises an experience like no other. So the event details are as follows. The time is always 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. and the rate is 410 Ghana cedis per person. The venue, of course, is the Phoenix Restaurant inside Mervyn Peak Ambassador Hotel, right here in the center of Accra. And then, of course, the date is from the 16th of August, 2025, and every third Saturday of the month. Reservations are always available. Not before you call the number 030-261-1000 or 059-6913-944. Well, you have to take note of this. Karaoke night should also be available. It should run for the period. It's okay. It's okay for now. So we have to do the draw as many times as we can. We always keep telling you the short code is *439#. You should have chosen option 2 by now. Increase the number of tickets you have. And the ones that were lucky did the right things, choosing the options. And one of them is the lucky number winning now in the draw, 0242950. Let's do some few birthdays before we call it a wrap-up. Dinah Adiko, gender consultant, the wife of Togbe Adiko of Tanyigbe. You celebrate your birthday on Saturday. Happy birthday to you. The beautiful, intelligent wifey of Togbe Adiko, Dinah Adiko. Let's do some birthdays. Linda, you're celebrating your birthday. Best wishes. That'll be it for now. Okay. So we have DSTB Mary Esikumson from Kiki. Happy birthday to you. Reindorf Ejariamwa, Church of Pentecost. Happy birthday to you. You're loved. Dorothy of Amasama from Michael. Happy birthday. And then also Stella Dankwa of Achimirisa. Your loved ones say happy birthday to you. Eva Love Kesawa Chum of Kesset. You'll celebrate your birthday. Arnold, happy birthday to you as well. Ashley and Ashleen Akabutu from Justice Aliklim. And then Elike Maja, happy birthday to you. And Solomon Kusi Tete, you're with the Ministry of Sports and Recreation. Happy birthday to you. Hannah Ajamain of Media General, happy birthday to you, Beauty. Mamle Amenya, you're 50. Happy birthday to you as well. George Kwesi Dakun, good health, long life, prosperity to you. And Mrs. Mary Midia from your children, they say happy birthday, Mommy. Mary Yabua, happy birthday from your kids or loved ones. Justine from Leslie, happy birthday to you. Jessica from Leslie once again. And then also we have Thelma Wingers of CEO, who is the CEO of Wingers Aroma Cuisine Hall from Uncle Solo. Happy birthday, Thelma. Lawrence Fiati, you're an elder of PIWC, that'll be Church of Pentecost, or PIWC Hall, Elder Solo as well. And wishing you all the best for the day. All right, more importantly, let me say good morning to you before I wrap up. Kobi Odum of Impact Investment Ghana. Wish you all the best for the day. But that'll be a wrap for our show this morning. Make sure you join us same time tomorrow. But we have relevant content, news, and current affairs analysis right here on the show. And we'll join you same time on that bell from midday. Or taking a morning greetings now. We'll be back same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.